Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane. Living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't know you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it. I'm telling you, don't waste it. Life's telling you, don't waste it on me.
Welcome everybody to the first Wednesday show, Stu, not first one, first Wednesday show of 2024. And we are welcoming back Jen for the first time in quite a while, and he has every reason to do so because he's become an Indiana Jones addict and a Palworld addict. So naturally, he wants to dive in and just gloat about all of these
played
things.
Hunt Showdown in a few days.
Oh, that's a big one. But yes, welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm going to have to, when we go into the video things, etc., I'm going to have to amend the camera, so you'll have to just deal with audio for a couple of minutes while I fix the camera positions and things. But before we do that, let's get into the chat. First and foremost, let's introduce our hosts and co-hosts for today. Jen, as a welcome back to yourself, sir. How have you been? What have you been up to? And what you've been playing?
I've been busy, man. Life things. As you know, I'm writing my book, and I'm quite far into writing that now.
Awesome.
4 chapters in, 21,000 something words. So
Nice.
it's getting there. It's been a long journey with that because I've been planning it for quite some time, as you know.
Yeah.
So that's going really well. I'll be back to writing that after I'm done here. Probably play a bit of Palworld as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing outside of gaming.
Yeah.
Showdown has really been the only game I have been playing when I have been playing games, and that's been a lot of fun because I've met a few new friends on Hunt Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
and Palworld recently is what I've been playing.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into that full
Nice.
tilt in a moment because Palworld is our first topic because it is A, the most recent thing to talk about, but B, because it's blown up and all of us have played it in depth now. I've got 1 day, 10 hours or something in it. I think Pat's got at least a day's playtime now by this point.
20
Yeah.
hours.
20 hours, so there
I
was
think I
almost
was
a
like
day. Jen's got more.
roughly 13 to 15 before I got it on Steam.
Yes, so yeah,
I've
you've played it
only
on both now as
Steam
well.
for like 4 hours, but it runs a lot smoother on Steam.
Oh yeah. And we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about it as well. But the good thing about this game, and we'll get into it, is that despite the issues that both the platform and potentially Steam has, there is at the core of it a very good and very addictive gameplay loop. But we'll jump into that very soon. Pat, how are you been, sir?
man.
What you been up to? What you been playing?
Well, work as usual, of course. Taking a good rest because something has damaged my knee.
Yeah.
My meniscus is a little bit damaged as I got the news today from the physiotherapy. So yeah, I need to chill out a moment and watch out with work especially. But besides that, yeah, I've been playing Palworld, man. Like
Yeah.
since Friday, since it launched. So it's crazy because normally I jump like into other games, Call of Duty, and I haven't touched Call of Duty for days now.
It does
So-
that. It does that. This is what I've been cursing this week because I said to myself, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stream Final Fantasy 16 and I'm going to finish 16 before Rebirth comes out. And then I'm going to play Alan Wake and play that before Rebirth comes out. And none of that's happening because Palworld keeps drawing me back in and all I want to do is make a big base.
I remember that with the last show, you were saying to us like you had a whole roadmap with games that you wanted to play, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can understand. I understand, man. It's
Yes,
so
Palworld's
addictive.
come along and buy
Yeah,
roadmap,
it's-
Bye-bye.
buy backlog.
Bye life, bye sleep. Oh, dear me. But yeah, so...
So yeah, basically that's it, man. Just enjoying Palworld at the moment. So
Nice. Yes. And everybody else in chat, what have you all been up to other than Palworld? If you haven't been playing Palworld, let me know what you've been playing. If you have been playing Palworld, let me know that as well. But yes, let us know in the chat what you've been up to. Aside from that, I've also been playing Palworld naturally. I've been playing Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, Crisis Core Reunion on Xbox as well because I got it super cheap. Got it like for £15 or $14.99 on Amazon. So originally it was meant to come in February, but they delivered it well earlier. So I'm happy about that. And I've also got a early access key for Falconeer Bulwark, which is obviously Thomas Saller's new version of the Falconeer game or universe, which is more of a base building RTS style game. So I'm going to be doing a preview of that on Saturday for everybody so you can see what it's all about. I'm debating whether or not to just do a full live stream of it to go in depth into the game so everybody can see what's going on and I can kind of discuss it whilst we're playing it. So that should be interesting. And of course, the demo then releases to everybody else on the 30th, which is Tuesday, on all platforms, and it releases in March officially. So I'll be looking forward to diving into that and showing you all what Bulwark's all about. But
nice.
yeah, other than that, chaps, let's dive into Palworld. And I'm going to go into the gameplay section. And again, you have to bear with me here because I'm going to have to change the cameras around whilst we're doing this, but let's go. And let's change the gameplay whilst we're at it. Yeah, so first and foremost, chaps, this game essentially came out of nowhere. We knew we were expecting it. We were looking forward to it. But did we expect it to hit as hard as it did? I would probably hazard a guess and say no.
No, not at all.
I think we all enjoyed it, but we certainly didn't think it would hit as well as it has. We didn't think it would be as addictive as it is. And I didn't think it would be as in depth as it was. I was expecting just Pokemon with guns, essentially go and catch them and do like adventure around and things like that. But no, it's got a massive technology tree. It's got the only thing it doesn't have that I want them to look into is a form of evolution for the pals, so they change into something else or evolve into something else. Whether I don't know how they're going to do that system without looking a bit like they are copying Pokemon. But Digivolutions were a case in Digimon, evolutions were a case in Pokemon, so they could do their own version of an evolution tree in some way, shape, or form.
I think the way they could do that would be to merge them together. So you take two pals and then you put them together.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the way you could put it is if you ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Did you ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh growing up? They had like a card in that game where you could combine two cards together, basically. Something like that.
But you know, like there is like a way. Well, you can combine them, but that only makes your pal stronger. Your pal has like a total of 5 stars. When you catch them, they have 0 stars. But once you like have, for example, 5 pals, then you can like add them together in a machine, and it will make the one pal that you selected stronger. So it gets 1 star, and it can go up to like 5 stars in total. But then the
Does
further
it
you
have to
go
be the
in
same
star,
pal though?
yeah. So for example, if you have like for example, the small electric one, and then you need to catch like 4 more, and when you add them to this machine, these 4, the one that you selected gets like 1 star, and it gets stronger. But the further you go with stars, the more of those spells you need. So it starts out with 4, then I think you need 16, and all the way up to 5 stars. So probably at the end you need like maybe 50 spells to just make it like 5 stars.
Yeah, I think mine's like 8. I think I need 8 pals, I think, on my machine.
Okay.
But you've got to get 8 of the same ones, don't you?
Yeah, I think it depends also on what kind of pearl you're using. Maybe the smaller ones need more, and the bigger ones need less
Right.
to combine. I didn't like check that yet, but
Well, they could do something similar like that, but maybe like you could take the hedgehog thing and combine it with the chicken or something like that,
yeah,
and just make something completely different looking. That
that's
could
also an idea. Yeah.
that could at least save them from more slander online that they're copying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, it's just got such an addictive loop. Now, the base building as well. I don't know whether or not you guys have left this on, but I've also left on the raids. I know a lot of people have turned them off. I've left them on.
No, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I left them on.
Although it is manic, sometimes it's like you get like raided like 3 times in an hour, and other times you don't get raided for hours. And then all of a sudden the taco like suicide chickens come over and just or you get a wave of furious fire breathing pals that come over that just want to set everything on fire. Not attack anything else, just set everything on fire, which is an absolute annoyance. And I've got some grievances and some things that I'd love to see change with that as well, because I don't know whether or not you guys have noticed, but the extinguishing part of the pals really doesn't do anything. Like, you can set something on fire, and they'll try to extinguish it, but it's already spread so far that they can't keep up with the extinguishing. So it's just at that point, you're just like,
I've
no.
not experienced that.
No.
Yeah, it just keeps going. So it's just like, especially if you build like a fort, like a wooden fort wall, like a protective wall around your base. They set one bit on fire, the pals go over to try and extinguish it. By that point, the second one's already on fire, and then they're still extinguishing the first, and the third one sets on fire, and the fourth, and I'm like, fuck this. So I just knock down the 2 walls that are either side to stop the spread, and then just build them back again. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah. But yeah, it is really enjoyable game. There was a lot of nonsense and fabricated nonsense around the meshes for the pals looking very similar to Pokemon or being identical and things like that, but that was proven to be incorrect and falsified because the guide intentionally altered the size of the meshes in order to fit better, even though the meshes weren't similar in size at all, and nor were they similar. They were very different. The polygons were different. The amount of polygons used in both meshes were entirely different. And despite the Pokemon and Pals looking the same, they're based on the same creatures. There's only so much really you can do with making a Japanese-looking Pokemon wolf look like a different Japanese Pokemon wolf.
Yeah.
And that was the same for quite a lot of them. It's like, okay, this creature looks like a dragon. How can we make this creature look like a different dragon to this one without being too similar to this one? So, it is what it is. Of course, you're going to get similar, but there's been multitudes of Pokemon-esque games. Multitudes.
I honestly don't understand that whole copying debate.
Yeah.
Because that's what games developers have done for years.
Yeah.
They take ideas from each other.
Mhm.
It's influence. They get influenced by something else. And they take that and they go, I want to do something a little similar with a slightly different spin.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
The only way it would be copying is if they literally took Pikachu or whatever Pokemon, put it in their game and didn't change anything.
Yeah. And we've even seen that this week. This guy that literally just posted the video of the Pokemon mod had a DMCA takedown on the video within like hours from Nintendo. Yet this game's been out for 5 days and Nintendo haven't breathed a single inch on it.
We can't.
Tells you enough.
They can't.
Yeah.
If they could, they would have dealt with Digimon back in the day.
Yeah. Yep.
They would have dealt with Temtem when that came out a few years back on Steam, and then it came out on PlayStation, I think.
Yeah.
They would have done it with Nexamon.
Yeah.
They would have done it with any one of those monster catching type of games.
Yeah, you
haven't,
can't
because they can't.
trademark the idea of monster catching because then
You
monsterhood.
can't trademark inspiration.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Exactly.
It's like if DC was to try and sue Marvel over some characters that look similar. They can't do it. They just can't. It's
Well, you know what you
difficult.
can't. I mean, like DC intentionally put pretended to put Marvel characters in Deadpool. They couldn't do nothing about that. Like even like pretending to put X-Men in and things like that. Marvel tried to put X-Men into it and like go into the X-Men mansion and things like that. And he's like, what? So yeah, it's a bit mad, and it's like you say, there's a difference between asset stealing and inspiration slash looking similar. You can have something looking very similar, and that's the case in a lot of things. There's always asset flips and things like that.
It's like this whole plagiarism thing. It's only plagiarism if you copy things exactly. You can be inspired by something and go, I like the elements of this story or this game or this movie. I want to do something similar to it. If you was to rip the entire thing off word for word, then yes, that's plagiarism.
Yeah, this is
But you know what it is that, of course, the people that know, everybody knows Pokemon. So you see some similarities between some of the pals, but they still look way different than the Pokemons do. You know.
Yeah.
So like you said, I also don't understand why people make a big deal of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, if they're using Pokemon as an inspiration / parody, then great.
But
that's
good.
a compliment. They're not directly ripping anything that they've got in it. Like, they've got their own Pokeball type thing. They've got their own crafting method for that. They've got their own money. The Pokemon don't fight the same. They look like the only one it kind of is similar to is Arceus Legends, but even then it's not really that similar. And I'm, again, like Jen, I'm also someone who's played every Pokemon that they've released ever. So I'm a big fan of Pokemon anyway, but at the same time, even playing all of the recent Pokemons, Scarlet and Violet, we still recognize Pokemon needs to do more. It needs to be better. It needs to evolve.
And that, part of that comes down to being held back with your technology.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Hopefully, this whole debate about whether they're copying Nintendo or not lights a fire on Nintendo's asses
Yeah.
and inspires them to pick up their game.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's
like
what we want.
as
Essentially,
much
that's
as
what we
I
hope, isn't it? We
as
all
much as
hope that
yeah,
it forces Nintendo to go, or Game Freak to go, okay, we've seen how the audience have reacted to a survival version of a Pokemon. Like, even if we don't add guns to our Pokemon, which they don't need to, right? That's a cool addition, but it's not required because even at this stage, my pals don't have guns, and it's still with the crafting mechanics and the base building, and you've got world bosses like you have gym bosses, but they're a little bit different. You don't have to collect badges and things like that. They're just like out in the world, and you can go and find them and search for them. These
Yeah.
are things that they can take
and
inspiration
catch
from.
them.
Yes, and catch them. You can catch humans.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
you
actually
can.
catch those bosses from the
That's
towers.
crazy.
I see someone do it. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
you can
funny.
catch the boss's
Mm.
pals. Yeah, I've seen it as well.
It's mad. It's mad. But yet they should. All we want, or all I want anyway, as someone who's played Pokemon since the dawn of time, is for them to take this as inspiration themselves and go, right, the audience is clearly loving the direction that they've went in with this monster catching game. They've went down the survival crafting route, as well as having a collectible monster game. And it's taken off like wildfire. We're talking 5 days, 7 million players, probably 8 million by the time we're doing this podcast. It's also overtaken Fortnite as the most played game on Xbox. Even though we don't have the official numbers, Circana, which is the official kind of numbers or statistics site, and you have to be subscriber with Circana in order to see the actual numbers. But it's in terms of the daily average users that are playing the game on Xbox, it is also the highest daily average users with an average of 200 minutes per person to have played the game. So they're not just playing it for a tiny bit of time. An average of 200 minutes is people playing it for at least 2 hours minimum, at least 3 hours, in fact, sorry, minimum, which is insane. I don't know the last time a game like that, which is the most played, also has an average time of 3 hours playtime. That means everyone who's picked it up, on average, has played multiple hours of the game. They haven't just picked it up for 10 minutes and went, nah.
Yeah, but you know what it is? You know what it is? Is that you know, like they introduced it like you have pals, you can use guns
Yeah.
and stuff, you know? But the guns, you unlock them like when you're like, I think around level 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you need to put time into it to actually get into having guns on your pals. And so, yeah, I understand that people play a lot of this game just to see how this is with guns, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
With you saying that, it's also worth noting that not many early access games launch in this type of condition
No.
with this amount of content to do,
yeah.
paced out well with everything you unlock.
And no
That is-
microtransactions.
I can't personally name any early access game that I have played that's launched with this significant amount of content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
crazy.
maybe Grounded. That, you know, like it was in a long game preview. I played it like day one when it came out, and it was you had quite a lot to do as well. But
So I didn't
think-
really play Grounded all that much when it first came out. It was
Okay.
when they had the full release is when
Yeah.
I went back to it.
Okay, yeah. But I remember like in the game preview they had like quite some stuff that you can do as well in Grounded. So
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's surprising though is that this game has a standard $25 release, or £25 release, whatever, $27 or whatever it works out as. Zero microtransactions in early access. No plans to have microtransactions. They've already got a roadmap for release. They've already stated the first thing is to fix critical issues. Now, obviously, we'll get into that as well. In terms of the game itself, before we get into more of the fun and the good and the bad, I want to kind of cover the differences between the two. Now, I've been playing primarily on Xbox Series X, which is the worst of the two. And the issues that I've got, and I've pointed them out to the developers as well, whether or not they read through them. No doubt they've got a list as long as they're on of things that need resolving. But Xbox seems to be the one that needs the most work by a long shot. It is also missing features that is on the PC, but again, those will be added because they do want parity. They want crossplay. They've already stated they want crossplay and PvP and everything, which is good.
I think that's the problem at the moment. Is they're two very different versions.
Yeah.
But yeah, Xbox Game Pass version and the Xbox version vastly, well, I wouldn't say vastly different, but they're basically different server spaces.
Yeah. And the key things that I've noticed in terms of its performance, now I noticed as well at the beginning, you can't change your character name, you can on Steam. You can't change your PAL names, but you can on Steam. So you can do all of this like more customization on there as well. Is the starter thing that you can't do on Xbox as yet. But in terms of performance, that is a night and day difference. The Xbox version, I've noticed multiple issues. And again, it doesn't completely detract from the fun I'm having because it doesn't stop us from playing it. And if the game happens to crash, I just boot it straight back up. Like, it doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
It, like, frustrates to the point where I'm like, ah, and then just not turn it back on. As soon as it crashes, I'm like, oh, back on again, because I want to finish what I'm doing. So it's still got enough of a pull to want to not frustrate us enough to do that, thankfully. But some of the issues specifically on Xbox that are the most frustrating is the asset streaming. So the world doesn't load in certain circumstances. Certain parts of the map don't load at all. A lot of the map is completely clippable when you can fall through. The volcano area is a no-go zone, and I've booted the game up multiple times now on my single player game, and there's a certain section of the volcano area that does not load. So it looks like the level is there, but it's the texture is completely flat. It isn't like loaded in, and that's when you know that you will fall through the world. If the texture isn't loaded in correctly and it looks really smooth, do not go there because you'll just clip through the ground. And this area of the volcano is completely smooth and you just clip through, and it's nigh on impossible to get out of. I fell through the world the first time, and there was crates that I could climb up on, but the rest of the world wasn't loading in properly, so I had to swim to an area, but the area was far too far away from my character's stamina to get to, so I died before I could. And because the world wasn't loading in, I couldn't get to that area without dying again every time. The only way I could resolve it was to mount one of my pals, ride it to the area, because the pals have a much longer stamina bar whilst swimming.
Yeah.
So get on the pal, get my gear, jump back and mount the pal again, and then was able to get out of that area with my gear onto some land that had loaded in. And there's a night and day difference between land that is loaded and isn't loaded, because you can see the texture difference between the two. But that area is a literal no-go. It just doesn't load no matter how many times I've tried, so I can't go to that area of the map. But I've also noticed it on occasion, on the way back to where I have my base, an entire area changed from having textures to the textures going blurry, and all of the pals fell through and clipped through the world and disappeared. So that section of the map completely became clippable, and you couldn't go there. I was like, they need to sort these bugs out, because that's the type of stuff that can end up frustrating people to turning it off and not turn it back on again. And it's a good job that I'm a very patient person, especially with this. And of course, when you play a lot of indie games, you come across a lot of bugs quite often, so you get a little bit more patience with games like that. But there is a lot of that is clipping specifically, and clipping out into and out of areas, or clipping through areas into a void of sea that you can't escape, is something that really needs to be sorted as a priority. Second,
again, it's worth noting it is early access, so like
exactly,
you know what you're getting yourself into when you buy it or you play it.
No.
So.
It's a good job.
Exactly.
I mean, specifically for us, for those on PC, if these issues were on PC and people had been paying it on Steam, for instance, and you granted it's early access still, but that's still a paying customer, so they would have much more of a gripe with it. Being on Xbox Game Pass, and in preview, it's a little bit different. So I can't really say outright, oh, I'm uber frustrated, but I can give it a little bit more leeway because it's like, right, it's in preview, it's in Game Pass. I haven't paid a penny for this separately to my subscription, so I don't have to worry. Steam, on the
No,
other hand,
exactly.
if Steam had the same clipping issues on as the Xbox version, I think there would be a very different viewpoint on the game because it's damn frustrating.
No.
Second one that I've noticed on Xbox specifically, and I don't know whether or not everybody has this issue, but the lighting from night to day, when it's transitioning from day to night, the lighting flickers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had that like 1 or 2 times, something. Yeah,
It's like,
1 or 2 times.
and then it goes night. You're like, what?
Yeah.
There's also
I don't think I've noticed that on
the PC.
Steam, but then again, I've only played 4 hours of
Yeah.
it, so I'm not too sure.
And the other one that is, again, clipping related, I've noticed sometimes if you get raided specifically and you've got a fortified wall next to a stone wall or a canyon wall or anything like that, if an AI that's raiding you clips into that, the rest of your pals who are attacking the AI assume that he's still there, even though they can't do anything about it. And they remain on high alert forever. I was like,
Okay.
ah! So the only
So
way
with the raiding, the issue I have with it
Yeah.
is because I made my first base on Xbox
Yeah.
down by, you go further down the starting area.
Yeah.
It's like
At
the
the
second
water.
fast travel location you
Yeah.
unlock. I made my first base there, and I had an issue where every time I got raided, there's like this mountain bit in the background across water, and they wouldn't come to the base. They'd just stand there looking at the base, and they just waited there the whole time. I had to physically run around and kill them because they were just standing there idle doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that happened every time I got raided.
I had the same thing. I started building like where you when you start, you had like the first fast travel that you unlock,
Yeah.
and right down below at the ruins that you have right there, I built my first base there.
Mhm.
You know, like all sorted out.
Yeah.
Then I noticed I got raided, so I saw the alert signs on the screen. I was like, wait, what? They're standing like 500 meters away and just standing still, doing nothing. Went to them, hit them, and they just start running towards the waterfall. And they were like stuck in the waterfall. And I just killed them, catch them. I was like, okay, that's easy. If it's like this, then it's crazy. But now I get raided and my whole base just blew up
Yeah.
because I moved to another place, you know. So, but yeah, that's an issue that I also had, John.
Yeah. So yeah, the clipping,
It's funny.
the AI, the only other minor annoyance which they've already noticed anyway, and I can see it's on their thing, is your working AI pals in the base. Like, for any reason, they'll break a leg, they'll be depressed, they'll be really hungry, even though like the feeding thing is rammed full of food. They'll be starving, bloodshot eyes, dying. I'm like, why? Why are you like this? So that they know about
I
that,
had
they're
that
gonna fix
issue.
that. But
But I built a few of the feeding zones
yeah,
in like sort of corners of my base, but you can't really say they're corners because the base is like a circular
yeah,
wall. And I as a result of that issue by putting like a feeding zone over on one side of the circle and the other, sort of like in a triangle formation.
yeah,
And there was, because for some reason I was getting this issue if the feeding box was too far away from where they were working,
yeah.
they wouldn't go over to the feeding box. So I just like made one a little bit closer, and they were like, "Oh, the food's there now."
So yeah, but I mean, like I say, those are the main issues that I've got. The lighting, the clipping, and sometimes the AI in base. Outside of that, however, really, really addictive gameplay loop. I love the technology tree. I love how it's so in depth that like, okay, you've got like saddles and like weapons and things you can unlock for all the pals. You've got like mountables of flying, of swimming, of gliding, of land. So you can have loads of creatures you can interact with. You can feed them, you can butcher them and chop them up for food if you really want to.
Mhm.
There's just like all of the things you can do with crafting for your base. You can have like things that don't really matter, like vines on the side of your walls. You can have like bookshelves and showers and mirrors and beds and all of these different random things that don't really do much. Different kinds of storage units to fancy the place up. Stone walls and things like that. And again, they've already mentioned they're going to add much more of crafting things for your base. So they're going to add more of that stuff in there as well. But it's all level based. So the higher you level up, the more you unlock, and you can choose based on the points you've got. But it's also very instructive. Like it tells you, unlike a lot of survival games like Ark, for instance, it actually tells you what to do to get to the next level, what's required, and gives you kind of a direction all the way through the game. It never stops giving you something to do. So even if you're just doing the basics, if you're just going around and catching pals and doing your base building and things like that, every time you upgrade your base, it'll go, okay, well, the next thing you need to aim for is I need some fluffy pal beds and I need this arch being built, right? Okay, that's the next things I need to aim for in order to level the base up. And then also it's like, right, okay, well, in order to get the bosses, you need to go and find them, go and search the world for the bosses. So it gives you a direction, it gives you something to do every turn, which is good. But it also just lets you just explore.
Yeah.
It's just a very addictive
But you know, like,
game loop.
you know what it is that once you get like further into the game, you get all those kind of new missions, like you said. You need a fluffy bed and stuff. But I'm right now I'm like level 21 or something like that. Yeah, level 21. But the next mission that I need to do is I think I need to make those fluffy beds.
Yeah, I've just done that.
But those are like level 25-ish, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so you know, like, and in the meantime, you unlock more stuff, more stuff, more stuff. So you can create other things. You can like make things for your other pals and stuff before you actually can continue your missions. So
Yeah.
that's also one thing that I really like about this game, because you can like get other stuff before you actually move on with your next mission, and then not that it's going that fast.
Yeah.
Instead of like every level you have like missions, missions, missions. No, right now we need to wait, explore, loot, catch, fight, and then you reach a certain level and you can continue your missions. That's a feature I really like about it. Is also
Yeah, yeah. And one thing, another in terms of the exploration that I like as well is that you've got the bandit bases, you've got this random kind of aggressive group that is protecting pals that you find around the world, and they're always super high level. So I don't know whether or not you've come across them yet, but they're like
They're
some
like a
pal
cult, right? And they're
protection
wearing like
service.
some sort of green hat and
Yeah.
robes.
Yeah, and they're like super high level every time, like 25, 30. Really aggressive. Like as soon as they see you, they just attack you. They don't care if you're just passing through. But that's a good addition as well, because of course it gets another threat other than just random pals or big monsters. Then you've got boss pals that are running around the world as well that are ginormous and like level 35 or 36. And you've got legendary pals, like, and it tells you what level they are on the map and where to find them, so you don't have to like think about where they might be. You've also got eggs hidden around the world as well that like hatch new pals that you can't simply catch, or you can catch, but usually you catch them at a much lower level. And it's just so many different things to do. Then you've got dungeons, which I haven't even got into yet. They're going to add raids very soon. They're going to add PvP battles to that soon. They've got the encampments that you can go like mow down and rescue pals, and as soon as you rescue them out the cages, they become yours, which is good. You don't need to catch them. So there's just so much, like you mentioned at the beginning, Jen. Like the amount of content they have in this game, and there's no wonder. Like we were thinking last year, like when's Palworld actually going to release? Because we were like, as soon as we seen it, we were like, I'm on that 100%.
Like, and I just thought it was going to be Pokemon with guns, and it's so much more than that.
Yeah,
like, I was so much more. I was surprised. I knew fairly nothing about the game going in. I just saw the few trailers that they showed at the few events that was held for like specific consoles and such. I think it was at the last big Xbox event
Yeah.
last year, right, in June.
Yeah.
So that's where like I sort of first took note of what that game was, and I just thought it was going to be Pokemon with guns, like a
Yeah.
more brutal adult take on Pokemon, and it's not. It's so much different from that, and it was surprising, and I'm genuinely enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Even my niece, she sent me a message today, and she said, did you already play the new game Palworld? And I was like, yeah, I'm already like almost 24 hours in, you know. She said, yeah, but is it only Xbox and PC? I said, yeah. She said, but when is it coming to PlayStation? And I saw a message that the creators or like the developers, I think they spoke with people of PlayStation, and they said they're gonna release it also for PlayStation. But when? That's the question. But I it it should be true, I think, because
I'd
the
imagine
source
they'd
that
want it on PlayStation. You've
It's
got to be
just,
crazy
yeah,
not to.
their roadmap currently is getting this game into the best possible version of what it is currently first. They want to iron out every bug. They want to fix all the issues. They want to add all the content. They want to get the feedback because it is early access. So, like, although PlayStation gets some early access games on the system, it's very rare that they allow it. And a game like
No.
Palworld, which does specifically on console have a significant amount of issues, and they do need ironed out first, I would imagine that it will be probably a year before you see it on PlayStation, at least.
I'd say it will come to PlayStation after the game is like out of early access.
Yeah, it'll be like version 1.
That'll be their focus after main release comes out.
Yeah,
Version 1, that'll drop, and then they'll probably have discussions with Sony. I mean, you'd be crazy to not want that on your console.
yeah. The only thing that goes against it is that the previous game, Craftopia, was also PC and Xbox only, and that also never released on PlayStation.
Wasn't as successful as this is,
It
though.
wasn't, but at the same time, if you have a look at the user metrics for what they've already achieved so far, their main focus is, okay, let's sort out what we have. We have the highest average users playing the game on Xbox. We're breaking records on PC. It's on both versions of Xbox One, I'm sure it is, and Series X and S, as well as PC and Xbox PC Gamepass. So we already have probably, I would imagine at this point they have more than 10 to 12 million people playing the game already in the first week. For an indie game, by the way, that is absolutely ridiculous. I can't remember the last indie game that's done that. When was the last indie game did like 10 to 12 million players in 5 days?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a tough one to think about, to be honest.
It's
But
just
like, watch when the weekend comes.
Yeah.
You've got people that have bought this game that have not had a chance to play it yet.
and
or have downloaded
also
the game,
it's
not had a
middle of the
chance to play
month.
it yet.
It's middle of the month.
Mhm.
Payday hasn't even happened yet. There's a lot of people that'll be sitting there going, I want to play this game on PC. I don't have like $25. It's like, I'm going to wait until payday and I'll get it on PC. And I've seen people playing it. And they're not the Xbox players. The Xbox players are playing it on Game Pass. So they're having fun.
Yeah,
But it's
there's people that exclusively game
Yeah.
only at the weekends
yeah,
when they've got time to.
yeah. And it's word of mouth.
Hey, by the way, the reason why, wait, let me just quickly check that I'm
Yeah.
saying it correct. PlayStation doesn't do early access games. They only want games that are like all finished up, yeah?
Yeah.
But the guy that's behind indie games,
Yoshi.
Yoshida,
Yeah.
he's interested in
Yeah, he
getting
is.
Palworld to PlayStation.
Of
So-
course. When you see
And-
this many people playing the game, you're like, I need that on my system.
Yeah, exactly. So the creators of Palworld said yes, but because of early access, it will not launch on PlayStation yet. So you guys are right.
Yeah.
Probably, well, not probably, for sure it will be launched on PlayStation, but when it's finished.
Yeah.
I could see Sony taking a pause and reapproaching their whole early access thing and figuring that out in the very near future.
Yeah. But that's the thing, as long as, because Xbox have a way of putting, like on Xbox, you know a game that's in early access because it has preview on it. A game that has preview on it is an early access game. It means it isn't finished. It's a game that's going to be improved upon as you're playing it, and there's going to be frequent patches, frequent updates to that game over the course until it's eventually version 1. Grounded was a preview game until version 1, which released last year. And that was in early access for a year. So there's a good chance that this game will be probably in early access for at least a year, if not longer, depending on how long they want to resolve the issues and fix them up. They've got a significant amount of money now behind the studio that they've made from this game. Already close to, if not above and beyond 200 million already from this, and it's only a $25 game. So it only cost them 7 million to make, by the way. So they're already 193 million in the plus. So massive bonus for the studio. It means that they can continue to bring these things in. It probably means they'll be able to do bigger and more grand things to this game that they had originally planned, because of the funding that they've got now from this game. And I think because of how successful it is, there's a good chance that this game will be heavily supported for a very long time, which is great.
Yeah.
But I've been waffling for a long time. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the game in general. First of all, Jen, overall thoughts. You've played both Steam for a little bit now and Xbox. Overall thoughts on Palworld, the good, the bad, the ugly.
I think roughly I've probably put just a little under 24 hours into the game.
Yeah.
On both platforms. Most of my playtime has been on Xbox before I decided to buy it on Steam. There's a bunch of issues on Xbox that you've covered most. There's a lot of like stuttering issues that I had on Xbox. Playing it on Steam, didn't notice anything too drastic. I've put about 4, close to 5 hours in the Steam version now.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Like most of my time in games like this where you're crafting goes to the wayside on building because I get distracted. I'm like, you give me all these tools to build a base.
Yeah.
I'm going to build the biggest base I can possibly build.
Yeah.
So that's like most of my time in that game is building. I've been playing it with a friend in co-op, a few friends actually, but one friend in particular has spent sort of around about the same time as me.
Yeah.
So I'm building a base. My friend's he's off. He's adventuring. I've opened the map. He's on the other side of the fucking map. I sent a screenshot. I'm like, where are you off to? And he's like, all the way over the other side of the map. And there's me in the base still, building away. I'm like level 20 on Xbox. I think I'm level 10 on PC now. It's close to that. It's a lot of fun, man. I've not done as much exploring as I'd like.
Yeah.
But I will be doing that when I've built my base like perfectly as I can possibly get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, I've done a little bit of a mixture. So I do I'll spend like two hours in the base, like crafting what I need to do and mending things and getting all things leveled up and getting loads of resources and things like that. And then I'll be like, right, everything tools down. I'll wait for the nighttime. I'll have a sleep. I'll make sure I've got plenty of like food and things to take with us. All my weapons are healed, and then I'll be like, right, adventure time. And I'll select a random spot that I've found.
I'm the complete opposite. My problem is, no, I build through the night. My character don't have any rest. My pals don't have any rest. Some of them go off to sleep, and the others are just working through the night. Like, I'm dying over here, man. Let me have a break.
Yeah, it's that's so I go adventuring, so then I'll go and I'll like unlock a big portion of the map, and I'll find a couple of the fast travel points. See what's about, see what level everything is, see what eggs I can find, and then travel back with whatever loot I've carried. Also a bonus, guys, if you weren't aware of this, thankfully I had a very helpful person in my chat when I was streaming, and for those in chat that need a little tip to level up quicker, If you catch 10 of the same pal, you get experience bonuses every time until a maximum of 10. So you actually level up really quickly. So if you catch 10 of one pal up to 10, you get a big experience bonus every time, and that levels you up really quick. So
Yeah, that's how I got to level 20 pretty quick. Like,
Yeah.
once I built things, I'd go and catch as many as the same as I could.
once you've
possibly
caught
could until I
10,
had all the
you
XP.
get no more experience for catching that pal. So just 10 of each. You can go back and get rid of them, butcher them, whatever you want to do afterwards, but 10 of each. That really boosts your experience super quick.
It's funny the fact that when you unlock the meat cleaver, it changes like when you unlock
The butcher.
the wheel.
Yeah, instead of feed.
Instead of pet, it's butcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, carry on anyway, Jen. What were you saying about the rest of it? You're good, you're bad, you're ugly.
It's not so much ugly. It's more the issues I've
Annoyance.
had on the Xbox that have been the ugly.
Yeah.
The gameplay, like I said earlier, was expecting it to be Pokemon with guns. It's so much more. It's a survival game. So like you got to focus on, depending on obviously what settings you pick, you got to focus on feeding yourself, feeding your pals, making sure your pals don't die or are overworked. In my case, some of my pals are overworked. My bad.
Slave labor camps.
Peter are going to come after me. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like I'm just addicted to the building, and I get like that in all games that are like this. Like Sons of the Forest was the same thing. I ended up building a massive log cabin for like everyone I was playing with, and that's like where my time goes in games like this. I'm like a magpie. When I unlock something new, I need to build it immediately.
Yeah.
So I'm running around getting all the materials to build everything, while everyone else is having a grand adventure over the other side of Palworld, and I'm just there in my prime location, chipping away at the base.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been really.
That's what I find fun. Like I find the base building fun, and like picking that prime location to set up the power box thing, and then building your base as perfect as you can get it. Like, I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to things like that, so I try and get my bases like straight and neat as possible. When everyone goes off the server, I'm the one running around making sure everything in the boxes is where it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm fucking weird.
Like every stone in one box, every wood in one box.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Like I had that comment actually on my one of my streams. They were like, "Have you got OCD?" I was like, "Absolutely, yep, 100%."
So if you've got empty boxes though, the pals will just put anything in there. The ones that can pick up and carry stuff, they'll put anything in there, and I'm sitting there thinking, "This is going to take me hours to sort out."
Yeah, yeah. Especially
But
when
I find
like
that fun.
if you've got like the auto crafting things, like I've got the the logging place and the mining place, and then you pick up what you think is a small amount, and all of a sudden, poof, you're overweight, you can't move. You're like, fuck.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, I'd say it's best to focus on your. I think it's stamina, right? That allows you to carry more. No, weight allows you to carry more.
Weight. Yeah.
So put some points in that, so you'll be able to carry some more stuff. Attack is one of them ones that sort of slowly build up. It's like 2 points at a time. I think weight is like 50 points.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah.
Put some. It's like if you're not started yet, like my thing is recommending you to put stuff into your carry weight so you can carry more, because you do get like over encumbered fast, and if you go over encumbered just a small bit, you're fine because you can walk to the box. But if you go over a lot, you're stuck and you can't move, and you're like, shit, I've got to drop some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you continue, there's one thing that you can like actually do when you like you cannot move anymore. If you have a grappling gun, you can use that to get yourself to the base or to your.
I haven't used that yet.
So use the grappling gun, point it somewhere at the ground where it can like reaches it, and it will drag you, like it will shoot you through the place where you shoot your grappling gun. So
Ah,
small tip, small
I'm
tip.
gonna have to unlock that as soon as possible then. 'cause
yeah, that'll be handy. I'll just over encumber myself intentionally, then just grapple my way back to the base. Just no longer, because my character usually I just like no longer move. He doesn't even walk slowly. He's just like nope. um, but yeah, it's just like you say, it's just an addictive gameplay loop, though, isn't it? It's just you just want to build
And
a
that's
bigger,
what
better
they've
base.
nailed perfectly is like that gameplay loop. Like I can't remember what like the typical thing is, but it's like if you can keep that 30 seconds of fun going every 30 seconds
Yeah,
or something like that, it's I might be paraphrasing it, but it's something along those lines of like nailing that 30 to 60 seconds of fun. If you can keep that loop going continuously,
yeah,
you've got a great game on your hands.
yeah,
And that's what this game's done perfectly, keeping that gameplay loop fun. It doesn't matter if like certain elements are repetitive, as long as those elements are fun, you've got a great game.
yeah,
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 true.
yeah. Pat, what about yourself? What's your thoughts on Palworld so far, being new to the genre?
Yeah, yeah. No, like yeah, basically never play crafting games and that kind of stuff. But this got me really interested. You know, like the whole Pokemon thing and stuff. But yeah, like I said, been playing since day one. It released on Game Pass, so since Friday, almost a week right now. Uh, when I have time to play, I play it. Doesn't matter. I'm enjoying myself so much. I love to explore. I love to build a base, and just figuring out like what can I do, where's stuff that I can like enter or not. You know, like getting in specific areas where all of a sudden like agents come behind you, and they're like 20, 30 levels higher than you.
Yeah,
It's insane. And you try to flee, but they actually just keep popping up every time. I don't know if that's an issue in the game, or maybe it's like uh it needs to be like this.
yeah,
Like for example, I was like swimming across the water to the other side of of land, and these characters just keep popping up into the water with the guns, and they start shooting me, and I was like, wait, is it correct or what? Like I don't think it should be like this, um but
It
overall,
depends on
yeah,
the
it's
area because I know there's an island that you on the game that's like a conservation area that's highly
yeah, the
protected.
one that's like on the bottom left.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
I
been
went there
there.
too, and I can't remember exactly what it says, but like it's a restricted area. You're not supposed to be there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
at
same
your
thing.
level anyway, yeah, because you will just die.
Yeah, from
Oh, I went there at
but
level 10. I managed to sneak around a lot and get all the chests there.
Yeah.
but that was actually the part where these AI just popping up into the water all the way to my base.
Yeah.
Kept me, and then like the most wanted is like off, but I did a lot of exploring in this game. I think I already been all the way up to the upper like part of the map.
Yeah.
Um, and when I try to when I see like a big boss or anything like that, I just try to fight it, see if I can catch it. I'm just going all in, you know, like
Yeah.
it's really fun. It's really fun to do, man. Just it's not only exploring, it's like you find new stuff, you find new creatures, new pals, all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. The whole crafting, the whole yeah, breeding of pals as well. Just started today with that. It's really interesting. I did a little bit of deep dive on YouTube about that,
Yeah.
about the breeding. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what kind of creatures come out of that.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, but so far, not really having big issues. The
Yeah.
only thing is that I got like crashed for like 3 or 4 times right now.
Yeah.
Um, I had one issue. I think I responded on Twitter as well. I was swimming towards land, and then all of a sudden I was like underneath the map.
Yeah.
But as soon as as soon as I was swimming back and just head to another way towards the island, it got all good. So, but so far I didn't like drop down into the map or anything like that.
Yeah. Yep. Sweet. Sweet. Awesome
Yeah.
stuff. Awesome stuff. But yeah, overall, very, very impressive. Like I say, and again, this could have changed because I haven't seen on Twitter whether or not they've updated it. But as of earlier on today, they had a whopping, like I say, 7 million people playing it. It might have increased since then. Then they also had the highest amount of players on Xbox as well. It's overtaken the average, the daily average users of Fortnite, which is a huge, huge one on Xbox. So massive numbers on Xbox playing it via Gamepass, of course. Massive numbers on Steam, with 7 million plus, if not, like I say, more by now. I haven't really checked. Again, if that's increased again, which no doubt it has, obviously someone will let us know. But yeah, just absolutely insane.
I think someone said it was like 1.16 million on average per day is how many they've sold.
Yeah,
It's fucking crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. For an indie game, that is insane.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going to quickly look here because before we move on, we'll talk about the updates that they've announced as well. So yeah, it was 7 million PAL tamers, so 7 million copies sold in 5 days on Steam, of course. And as I mentioned there, the daily average users on Xbox has also overtaken Fortnite, with an average user playing over 200 minutes, which is just, like I say, absolutely bonkers. But that also means that it's allowed them to put out a roadmap, and the roadmap is pretty significant. So first of all, they're addressing critical issues. So currently, numerous bugs are being identified, and we have prioritized fixing those. Sometimes the world date may experience rollbacks. The loading screen may persist when trying to load into worlds, and so on. Improvements to implement as soon as possible, so after the addressing critical issues. Key configuration improvements and improvements to base PAL AI and pathing. So pathing means the way in which they move around the base and what they do and how they move around there, as well as just their overall behavior. And then planned future updates. So they want PvP, raid bosses, so end game content, PAL Arena, PvP for PALs, so you can face your team versus your friend's team. Steam and Xbox crossplay, again when they're both on level playing field and they've got the same features, then they'll add that. Various Xbox feature improvements, as we know, because they haven't got a lot of the stuff that's in the Steam version. Server transfers and migrations. They have had some server issues when they've done updates and things like that, so they want to make sure that the servers are updated well, and they've got dedicated servers on Xbox as well. Improvements to the building system. Again, if anybody's tried building, you know how difficult building stairs is in that game. They just don't want to connect to anything, and it takes an age to build the stairs in the location you want to build them in.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to say that. I had problems with the stairs
There
all
is
the time.
something that I might be worth noting here.
Yeah.
There's like a triangle bit of wall that you put up to build the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you built your walls the wrong way round, that's what's causing your issue. So you need to like rebuild your walls like from the outside completely, and you should be okay.
That's a pain in the arse.
If you're like, it's a pain in the arse, but it was worth noting. Like, I'm glad.
So
I
the
saw
walls
that
are like
information on
the walls are
TikTok.
like inside out. You mean?
Yeah, although they look the same either side, they sort of treated like one's inside and one's outside. So if you like
No way.
build all the way outside rather than like building some on the outside and then going in and building the rest, because that's going to cause you an issue.
So if I build the
But
wall,
yeah.
if I build the outside walls from the inside, that's the causing the issue, as opposed to building the outside walls from the outside.
Yeah, you should be okay if you're outside your base while you're building your walls.
Right.
You should be fine.
I had this problem. Like I was really frustrated on that part because
that-
my
yeah,
building is like all straight up with a flat roof.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have this like
Yep.
the
that was my issue in the
this
first time I
triangle thing
started.
was like going the other way.
Wouldn't flip for me. So
Yeah,
I
exactly,
mm,
exactly.
delete the
That
wall,
was-
replace it on the outside, and you should be good.
oh my god, never thought about that.
It's weird, and I would imagine they'll fix it in the future so
Yeah.
it does connect properly.
Thank God for
But
that.
It's a bit of a weird issue at the
Well,
moment.
thanks for the tip, Jen. I'll try it out definitely.
Yeah, but everybody
It's
had the
annoying.
same
It's
issue. Everyone
pissed
was
me
like,
off.
"Why are these
Yeah.
fucking stairs not working?"
yeah. Oh
Took
Yeah.
forever. I deleted it. One of the worst things for me is that I was revamping my base and then deleted the stairs that were in the position I wanted them. And then when I tried to put the stairs back, it wouldn't go. It was just like, nope, no longer want to be here. So I had to put them in an entirely different place that just happened to clip. I was like, that'll do. That will do. Right here, we'll have to do. Oh,
Hey,
God.
did you also know like once you're because every time you complete a mission, your base level goes up, right?
Mm.
Once your base level is level 10 or higher, you can make a second base.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, you guys know that. All right.
Yeah,
ah.
yeah. I'm debating where to put that second base.
I'll give you know what you can do is find find a place where they have a lot of ore
Yeah,
because you can use that place to mine. I did it now at the volcano area because there's a big area with a lot of ore, and I just put some pals there with level 2 mining,
yeah,
and they are grinding like crazy.
yeah.
Put
Like,
some put
or
some
is like the most thing you need, like
Yeah.
towards that sort of middle point where
Yeah.
you're like level 20-ish. Or is what you need the most.
Yeah,
So I did the
100%.
same when I got the Steam version.
The
I was
one
like,
thing
I'm
I
gonna go
the
just
one thing
build
I
right
hate
now
is
near
the
ore.
the ore refining is so bloody slow. And your pals just like give up halfway through. They'll mine one, they'll go one done.
Oh, I
I'm
need a
gonna
break.
get some food. You're like, fuck you, stay there. Do your job.
Yeah, but that's also a thing that I really like in this game is that you really need to figure out which spell is the best to use because, for example, the smaller ones, the fire ones, they are like level 1 in kindling.
Yeah.
If I'm saying it correct.
Yeah, kindling.
But
Yeah.
they're like there are certain spells that has level 2, so they go much faster. It like so. Yeah, that's also a thing that I really like about this game is that you really need to figure out which character, which spell you're gonna use for certain kind of things. So yeah, that's they really think about this game, how to put it together. So nice.
Yeah, it's just so many mad things, but I love it. I love it. Because there's so many things to think about. You're like, right, okay, so how can I do this, and how can I get this, and how can I make this more efficient, and how do I get more ore, and which pals do I need to assign to think? And by the way, the wool farm is insane. The wool farm.
The what?
If you build a farm just for sheep, by the way, it creates more
Oh, the
wool than you
ranch.
can possibly
The
think
wall.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ranch.
Yeah.
You
Every
also
time I
get
come back, there's
power
like
spheres from
5
that.
billion bits of wool on the floor. I'm like, what? What is happening?
I think you also get power spheres from that if you put something else in it, like
Yeah.
different animal.
Yeah, you're correct. I seen that as well.
Yeah.
Because I came back to like 40 power spheres and I was like, who built them? Because I'm the only one here. What the hell?
Yeah, absolutely insane. But yeah, on top of the improvements to the building system, the final one they've got on here so far is new islands, pals, bosses, and technologies. So they're going to extend. I mean, the map's massive as it is; it's huge. They're going to
bloody
expand
huge.
that. They're going to add new pals there, which is good because they've got 111 so far, which is a good starting point considering they've just started from scratch. Bosses, they've got quite a few already. To be fair, they've got like 10 bosses, maybe 8 or 10 bosses or something like that. And technology tree is massive. Technology tree is like as long as your arm, so you're gonna get at least, I would say, at least 70 hours, maybe, or more of playtime before you've maximized the current technology tree. I
think max player level's like 50, right?
think so
Yeah.
so far.
At the moment,
Yeah.
they're bound to expand that. They're gonna
Well, I
have
mean,
to.
I think
They're
you'd
gonna
have
add
to
more
anyway
stuff
if the
to it.
technology tree's expanding. You'd have to extend the level.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
and also what I really like is that um once you catch for example, you're like level 20, but you catch a character that's like level 29,
Yeah.
it isn't 29 when you
It
like
scales it down to your level, yeah.
it scales it down to your level until you're like leveling up. Your character also goes with you,
Yeah.
and that's also really good. That's a good way, because then you're not like overpowered, because then you will complete the game really really quick. You know,
Well,
like
unlike
catching high
Pat, because
levels.
I know you haven't really played Pokemon per se, or maybe it's not for a very long time. But on Pokemon, if you catch a Pokemon that's far too high before you've done all of your badges, you can't use that Pokemon because he just doesn't listen to you. He doesn't pay attention. He's like, nope, I'm not going to do any of my moves because you're not a good enough trainer yet. So I'm going to be a level 65 Pokemon. You're a level 5 trainer. Like, I'm not listening to what you're saying. On this one, it's the opposite. It's like, okay, so the pal will remain level 25 or 30, whatever you've caught him at. But he downs and matches your level. So every time, like you say, every time you move up, he moves up, and it means you can also continue
Yeah.
to use him. Because I think it would be frustrating if you caught this big old boss Pokemon that's amazing and it's got all these mad moves and he's a giant and things like that, but then you can't use him until you're level 25 because that will take like days.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing that I really like about it as well.
Yeah,
Is that the whole progress with the pearls.
yeah, absolutely. And above all else, I can absolutely not wait to just jump back on it and play more. It's one of them games where you're just thinking about it when you're not playing it, and it's
All right, guys, this was the show for today.
yeah.
Have a good one. Nah.
So yeah, it's fantastic game. Can't wait to see what they do with it, and how they expand upon it. But next up, we're going to talk about the next big topic, and that was the Xbox Developer Direct. And we had updates on 4 games. We're going to touch on 3 of them today. We're not going to touch on Aura History Untold because we're not RTS fans here to a great extent. Aura is very in-depth. It's very Civ-based. And as much as I know people like Aura, or might like Aura, it's not a topic really that us guys here are going to want to delve too much into. And it's also probably not a game that I'm going to personally touch. Aura's coming out later this year. For those who are interested in it, it's coming out on PC, first and foremost. Judging by the controls and what I've seen of Aura, it looks maybe a little bit too in-depth and too finicky to translate to a controller. So I have doubts that it will go on to get Xbox at all. And I think that'll just remain as an Xbox PC exclusive. So yeah, but aside from that, we're going to get on to the big one for me and Jen first of all before Indie, and that's a release to our most anticipated game this year, Hellblade. Senua's
Hellblade
Saga. So what I've done is, you've seen the trailers because I've been having them on in the background anyway, is I've collated all of the Hellblade trailers into one. I've cut out the Xbox outros and intros for the middle ones, so they just blend seamlessly into the final trailer that we got in the Dev Direct. So you can see all of the gameplay footage and all of the footage we've had from Hellblade so far until now, whilst we're talking about it. But ultimately, we eventually got that date, Jen. May 21st, we eventually get to play Hellblade Senua's Saga
I can't wait.
on
I
our consoles.
cannot wait. I am super hyped for this for more than one reason.
Yeah. What did you make watching the Dev Direct, watching the new footage, watching the new developer updates, watching the footage over the last year of the game? What have you made about it? What do you think about the game, and what are your thoughts on that release date?
I'm just glad we finally got a release date, because there was a part of me that was sitting there while I was watching this thinking, if you don't show a release date, I'm going to go mad because I need it. But it looks visually stunning. Like the photorealism in this game is bloody crazy. Like, I've not seen a game this detailed ever. I mean, there's been games that have come close.
Yeah.
But this is like one of them games that is going to set a standard for like realism in gaming.
Yeah.
And
100%.
the soundtrack, man, the soundtrack is going to be insane.
Yeah.
It's like you and I both know Heilung. I'm wearing.
Yes. High long t-shirt.
I love Heilung. I
Yeah.
love Heilung. They're like my favorite band. I listen to them every single day. Like they're part of my sleep routine as well. I'll throw Heilung on while I'm trying to fall asleep. I can't wait for the soundtrack for this game just because it's Heilung doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Nice.
going to be insane. Like the visuals, the sound, like the 3D audio in the original game was great, but it's going to be so much better in this game. They've had time to play around with that 3D audio and master it.
But not only that, other than just the binaural audio for voices, as we have grown accustomed to with Senua Sacrifice, which was insane. Obviously, what we've learned very early on in the development process, in the dev diaries that they showed, was that they've recorded all of the 3D audio aspects for the environment to go on top of that. So you've got things like, if you're in an icy area, you've got the dripping of ice and the dripping of water and the sound of the crunching of the footsteps, and everything is 3D audio. So on top of the 3D voices, the binaural audio you've got there, you've got the environment is fully 3D in terms of its audio. So
it'll be the same with the combat as well, because like we obviously know now there's more characters in this game that you're going to be interacting with.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fighting characters in the background, and you're going to be hearing like the 3D audio of their swords clashing or swords hitting shield. Stuff like that is going to be it's going to be immense in this game. The first game was already impressive on like another level.
Yeah.
But they've had time to perfect that since the first one, and that excites me.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing that kind of excites me about it as well is I know people keep saying, oh, we haven't seen enough of the combat, we haven't seen enough of what the combat is or how much it's changed, etc. But there's a lot of subtle things in there that you can see if you've played the first one and you have a look at the combat snippets that they've shown from this one so far, because it is snippets. They're still very reluctant to give you too much away. They just want you to experience it, so they're just showing you snippets of things.
See, I get that though, because it's, as we know, it's going to be around the same length as the first game.
Yeah.
If they were to show you too much, you'd feel like you've seen the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about movie trailers.
Yeah, they always show you the best bits a lot of the time, don't they?
They show you all the best bits in the movie, or they show you a large majority of all the best bits in the movie. And by the time you come to sit in and watching that movie, either at home or in the cinema, you feel like you've already experienced all the good bits.
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that? Like, the first game's combat was pretty good. I mean, it weren't perfect.
It wasn't perfect. That's the one thing it does, and this is why when people speak about the combat, I doubt that a lot of people have actually finished the game, because specifically the last section of the game, when we're talking about the last hour, maybe an hour and a half of the game, it is combat heavy. You've got creature after creature. You've got a boss fight against Fenrir. You've got a boss fight against essentially the Hela. You've got the waves of enemies you have to fight beforehand. Then just before Hela, you've got to fight shadow versions of all the bosses you've fought originally. Like, there is so much combat just near the end that you have to focus on, and either block and dodge, and then you've got to use your powers to get into some moves. You've got to use force power yourself in order to attack certain enemies that just aren't appearing unless you use a force power. So there's a lot to
use
do
that,
in
like,
the
mirror
combat.
device thing
Yeah.
to sort of slow down time.
Yeah.
So you can.
There's a
get
lot
your, like,
already there, which
strikes
makes
in
me doubt that
perfectly.
a lot of people just did the puzzle section at the beginning and said the combat's slow and blah blah blah, but haven't got far enough into the game to really speak on what the combat was like when it was in full flow. Because the combat when it was in full flow was pretty decent. It did need some extras. It needed plumped out. It needed a little bit more things to do. And maybe it's a little bit more differences in it, not just one weapon. But what I'd have noticed from these trailers specifically, when you're getting into the combat sections, is that she'll lose a weapon. She'll get an axe, she'll shove it into his head, and that sticks in there, and then she's got a sword, and then she's doing that, and then something else happens, and someone hits her, and then she's doing something else, she's got a spear. So you've got
Yep,
multiple
throwing a
weapons.
spear.
Yeah, you've got multiple
I'd
weapons.
imagine
You've
that
got
throwing a spear thing might be similar to Rise, Son of Rome, the way that
yes,
sort of system worked.
yeah. But then of course, as you won't see it in this particular clip that's on now, but the latter clips, you notice she's still got the rune attached to her hip as well, the blue rune, which lets you know when your power is level or at the right level in order to activate slow motion, and or let you know when to power up your sword so you can attack certain enemy types. So that's still there. So what evolutions have they made to that system to make it a little bit more aggressive? But I think overall the combat in itself has been refined. First of all, the one thing as well that I noticed about the combat was that it was very aggressive. It was brutal, far more brutal than the first one. It seems like they've added a little bit more of a level of gore to this game than they have the previous one. A little bit more realism on the combat. We know that in this one, other than fighting Vikings, and of course some other mythical Norse beasts, you're also fighting the Droga as one of the main things on here.
The undead.
Yep, the undead. So you're not just fighting these masked things that just appear every now and again, and like humans with these like goat skulls on, which was just essentially what you were fighting, different versions of the same thing every time, apart from when you fought Fenrir and the bosses of each realm. It was just the same enemies all the time. But in this one, you've got the Droga, you've got Vikings, you've got your bosses. Depending on what Viking gods you have to face in this one, because of course we've already fought Fenrir. Although, if you've played the first one, you don't technically kill Fenrir. You kind of just ward him away. But when you defeat him, you don't kill him. You just, that's it, gone. He disappears in the abyss and doesn't bother you anymore. So I think the combat is definitely going to have improved for the better. Whether or not people love it and how much, this is another thing as well, how much combat they've included in this one compared to the last one, whether or not they've ramped that up a little bit, is another thing. Additionally, on the puzzle side, the puzzles later on in Hellblade 1 were brilliant. I love the fact that they kind of went, okay, now you have nothing on screen, you can't see anything, you have to use your audio in order to find your way out of this map. And without audio, you can't see.
That's one of my favorite bits, like where the entirety of that level is like dark. It's not completely dark. You can sort of work your way out, but
yeah,
you have to really sort of like listen to where things are, and like there's weird creatures that are also there. You have to pay attention to like the sounds they make and stuff like that.
yeah. And then there's the other one with like the labyrinth where you're just going round and round in like in the burial
I love
zone.
that bit as well.
And you're like, where the hell am I going? And you just keep going. I got in there for at least half an hour, and I was like, where am I going? Why do I keep going to the same spot every time? And then there was the other one as well, where although you had to get the runes, you were being chased by something that just one shot kills you if you don't get out of the way. So you've got to go, and you're like, right, okay, now I've got the rune now and get back to this door, and now I've got this rune. Now let's quickly get back to this door, but that was a maze as well in between it. Like all three of those zones were really interesting. Then you had the tower you had to climb.
That's the bit that's shortly before you fight Fenrir, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you go underground, the light goes out.
Yeah.
You have to move quick between like the lights.
Yes. Yeah. Before Fenrir catches you. Yeah. Yeah. He flame extinguishers, and you're like, run quickly. And I didn't realize there was like a torch thing I could light on one of them, and I just kept running. And I got to where I thought was light, and it was like, no, you're dead. I'm like. But there's so many things later on in that game that I think people haven't actually experienced because they haven't played far enough into Hellblade 1 to know that. But those are the kinds of puzzles I want to see more of in Hellblade Senua Saga. What I don't want to see is what we got at the first half of Senua Saga, which was just match the runes, find the rune, match the rune, for like the first
that
3 hours of the game.
A little bit stale quick, they're matching the runes. Although some of them were pretty cool, like you have to really sort of try and find the shape of the rune.
Yeah.
And some of them were like simple and easy to find, and others were a little bit more difficult, but not majorly difficult. And there were some cool like moments where you had to like be in the right location to get the stairs to come into the realm, or however you would explain that. But those were pretty cool. It's the fact that there was a little bit too much of that at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it was. That's what put a lot of people off. I can understand it as well at the beginning because it was just repetitive puzzles at the beginning. But you have to, and again, I have to say this. This was back when Ninja Theory was a studio that had to farm out half of their studio to other projects in order to make enough money to make their own game in the first place.
Hmm. They were a
That was-
double A studio back then, so
Yeah.
I mean, for a double A game, it's bloody amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it still stands up to this day. It still looks beautiful. It's like I say, the story is really good. I loved listening. Literally, when I was going through the game, like a lot of people just find the law stones and move off. But as soon as I found a law stone, I would sit there and I would just listen to the narrative and the narrator because his voice was perfect for the narrating as well, and the way that he narrated
It's
all of the
not
lore.
just that; it's the stories he tells are match for match the stories from like Viking sagas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly the
they're
way it
told
is.
perfectly. Like the voice acting from, I don't know the name of the actor who I can't remember his name in the game now. I'm blanking on it.
Yeah.
Druth.
Yes,
it?
that's the one. Truth.
Yeah, like him retelling all those like Viking sagas and stories of the gods was an amazing part of the game. I hope they have something similar in this.
Yeah.
But I hope it's a little bit different as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And I give both Hellblade and God of War the same props because the way God of War did the storytelling whilst you're on the boats with Mimir was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like when you're sailing around and he's
brilliant.
like, right, I'm going to tell you a tale about this, and then he tells you the full Norse thing as is. It was legit, exactly how it was in like actual Nordic tales of these gods, and these.
And then when you got off the like, what was it? What's it called? Skiff or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When you got off of that, he'd stop the story, and then when you get back on, it'd start the story pretty much right back up where we left off.
Yeah, it was perfect. He's like, okay, I'll carry on the story, and then you carry on again. So
I still haven't played fucking Ragnarok, not Ragnarok, Valhalla, the DLC. Yeah, still haven't played that.
It's got a good little story attached to it. I'm still haven't played all the way through it as well. It's not super long, but it is interesting. I like the way they've done it.
Does it have new trophies? Because that's something I don't know.
It does have its own trophies, yes.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, it does. It does. It is. It's actually it is a story extension as well, which is what a lot of people didn't expect. There is extra story on there, both from the Norse perspective and to pay homage to earlier Kratos and his Greek roots. So you see all of that stuff come into it as well, and like there is a lot of cool story beats and things that go into it. So massive shout out to the God of War devs because that was a really impressive addition. And I'm looking forward to diving more into it when I've got a little bit more spare time.
I will go back to it, but I've already got so many half-completed games that I need to go back to.
Yeah, same.
I still ain't finished Jedi Survivor. I still haven't finished Hogwarts Legacy. I still haven't finished Dead Island 2.
Yeah.
And they're all games I really enjoyed, but I put down and I found it hard to get back into them.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. But yeah, back to the lore. Like I say, I loved the way he told the lore in this game, and I can't wait to see what else they've included in it. Another addition that I absolutely love on this one that we found out at Dev Direct was the addition of actual characters that are with you throughout there. We saw another female character, we saw a male character, we saw that you're not just in combat and doing puzzles, and there is actual narrative moments where you're walking around your settlement. And so
maybe that's how they'll do the stories going forward in that. Maybe it'll be characters telling Senua different stories.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm really intrigued to see how that pans out, how that works. But even if you have a look at the level of detail that they've included on those characters, it's on par with Senua's level of detail. Like hyper realism, like fully mapped out. It is really impressive. It's a lovely addition to the game, and I just can't wait to see how this game is. And it was nice in these trailers to see like not just grim. It was nice to see like daytime, beautiful daytime areas and locations and things like that. The only time you really see like the non-grim versions in Hellblade 1 was when she has the flashback of the tree before it all goes to shit, and that was like beautiful, and she's like happy and talking to her boyfriend at the time, and then it just goes grim and like he's dead and like everything's on fire and people hanging from the tree. And but on this you have genuine moments of just daytime beauty of the settlement that they're in and the locations they're in. So yeah,
I can't wait to play it. And we know it's set in Iceland. I've personally been to Iceland. I bloody love that country.
yeah,
I can't wait to see what they do, like with, because I actually went to Iceland and
yeah,
took a
capture
lot
the
of
areas. Yeah,
photos, videos. I can't wait to see what that looks like in game.
yeah,
It's going to be crazy.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Pat,
One of my
you-
favorite places on earth.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah, I haven't been and I want to. So yeah, at some point
I
I'll be
highly
going there.
recommend it.
Yep.
It's an amazing place. It's an experience. Like,
Yeah,
it's the day we landed there, it was snowing, and like it was just so beautiful. And I had like my hotel room was right like on the mountainscapes. You could see it, and it was fucking beautiful, man. Like, I just stood at the window for a bit, just looking at the landscape. It was so cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
not jealous at all. I love stuff like that, which is why I tend to find like I always go to the Lake District over here, because just that kind of scenery, like with the mountain landscapes and the snow-topped mountains and like the valleys and the waterfall, like, it's just completely separate from city life reality. It's like absolutely beautiful. So I love stuff like that.
Before I went to Iceland, I had a fear of heights, and I conquered my fear of heights there by going to the top of one of their largest waterfalls, Skogafoss.
Nice, nice.
Nice.
Worth it when you get to the top, though, isn't it?
The site was amazing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Also, there's railings going up there,
Yeah.
but you get to the top and one of the railings is missing. So I could have died there. It was windy that day as well, and I dared to go up there. So I
Nice,
could have been
nice.
toppled off into the waterfall, frozen. It's 1,000 years later, you see me being dug up.
Oh dear
I
me.
love that place. I'd highly recommend Iceland to anyone.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Yeah. Pat, what about you? What
Yeah.
about you and Hellblade? What do you make of it?
Well, yeah, gorgeous, of course. For what we see now, it's just mind blowing what they've created. Really, the first one was already good. I didn't complete it, but I played a good amount of portion of that game. Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm gonna finish the
Complete
second
it,
one.
yeah. Complete
Yeah,
it before the second one.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna jump back in before the second one comes out, or before I gonna play the second one.
You'll like especially at the end, Pat, if you haven't got to the end yet, the end of Hellblade is just non-stop action. Like non-stop action. And by the way, just a quick tip, at the end, you will just fight forever if you don't just stop fighting. That is the whole
Okay.
point. Like the whole lesson of the final fight is know when to stop, because it will let
Nice.
you fight forever, and the enemies will spawn infinitely unless you stop fighting.
Okay.
So at some
One
point you can
eternity
fight, have
later.
fun fighting for a bit, like have fun fending them off as much as you can, but then at one point just literally stop fighting, because they will just infinitely go, and that's the whole point. Yeah.
Okay.
The point
okay.
is
That's
the
still
point of
bagging
the
when he's in his
end.
80s.
Yeah, the point at the
Yeah.
end
Got a big
is to
long
know when
beard.
to let go, because the whole premise of the story for Senua is that she doesn't know when to let go of what's happened. She
Yeah.
can't let go of the skull, as you've seen all the way through, of her boyfriend. She has to bring him to Hela. She has to make him go to the afterlife nicely, and it's about like just know when to let go, know when to stop, and that's the whole point. So the end segment you're gonna love, because it is just non-stop. It is just such a great end to it, and there's a nice little twist at the end as well that I didn't see happening until you get to that end point, the very end after you finish the final fight. Nice little story twist there as well. But
Okay.
yeah, fantastic. And if you
Yeah.
can go through and 100% it, just look at online for the guides to find where the low stones are, because that's all you need for the 100%. Like, do the game
Yeah, I know.
as normal. The low stones are the only thing that you need as the 100% thing. But they're
Yeah,
worth it
yeah.
because
I
you've
need
got
to
some
go
cool
back and do
stories.
that. Get the
Yeah.
little law stones.
And
I
you
was
can
missing, like,
chapter
5
select,
or
by the way, as
something.
well, Pat. So if you missed any, don't worry, because when the game finishes, you can chapter select and just select what chapter you want to jump into to find the low stones.
Jump into.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I'm 100% sure they, like really improved the second one.
Yeah.
I think also the voices, and that's one of the elements that I really really like about that game, because when I started the first one,
Yeah.
and you hear those voices going left, right, left, right, left, right in your ear,
Yeah.
it's so intense. It's so intense, and I'll bet that the second one is gonna be much more crazier than the first one ever is. And of course, just the visuals, uh, like Jen also said, it's gonna be crazy on the island landscape and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to play the second one as well. But yeah, I'm gonna finish the first one
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I'm not far away from the end, to be fair.
How much playtime have you got in the first?
Well, I need to check that.
I can tell you based on that because I know how long the game is.
Let me see. How long is it?
I'll tell you how long. I'll tell you how long you've got left if you tell us how long you've played.
All right, okay. Hellblade. Where is it? Games. Senua Sacrifice.
That's something I wanted to mention. I wonder how they're going to handle the whole, because you had like, that black arm thing that was
Yeah,
crawling around every time
it doesn't
you
look like
got
they've included
killed.
it on this one
Mm.
because you haven't got the rot. So there's going to be some other element, I would imagine.
Okay. Where is it? Jesus, I played too many games. Oh yeah, almost there. Oh, okay. So wait, what? Oh no. I thought I was like far in the game, but I guess it's not, because it's only 3.5 hours.
Okay, you've got 6 hours.
Okay.
It's all in all, it's anywhere between 8 and 9.5 hours long.
Okay.
So you could probably, if you just went one day and turned everything off and didn't play Palworld, you could probably get it done in one day. So
We know that's not happening. Not yet, at least.
But yeah.
Okay.
Just
So
do
it's
it like a
between
week
8 and
before
9.5.
Hellblade comes out. It'd be fresh on your mind then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play it in May, just before the game releases, and get it finished then.
I'll try to. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
But yeah, other than that, 21st of May release date. Really happy it's relatively soon. I'm happy it's not too soon because I'm playing obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at the end of February. So it gives us plenty of time to play us through Rebirth, which is going to be like a 70, 80 hour game. Plenty of time to play all the other things, plenty more time on Palworld, and all the other games that released beforehand. So I catch up on backlog. Enough time to catch up on backlog before Senua releases. Thank God.
Enough time for me to catch on backlog, but we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. We always say this. It never actually happens.
I'm starting to think Boxing Burger was right. The backlog is a lie.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a complete myth. We don't have a backlog. We've just got games we think we're going to play that we never do.
Yeah.
We
He's
just
right.
accumulate
He's
games.
right.
Yeah. just accumulate them. And every now and again, one will grab you enough where you want to play it all the way through to its finish in one foul swoop. But that's rare. That's very rare that one you'll get on a game and you'll be like, I just want to finish this game. All I want to do is play this game.
I think that's my problem with a lot of single player games nowadays. They're so bloody long.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about games like Hellblade. Short and sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Well, you never know with 2. You
Another.
never know with Hellblade 2. Maybe it's longer than the first one.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Next up on our games to talk about is, of course, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
We got the surprise announcement that we were going to see Indiana Jones gameplay for the first time. We were
That
going
was
to see
unexpected. 'cause I
what
didn't-
machine games
I
had
didn't think we
worked
were
on.
going to see it this soon.
Yeah. And, of course, we know, being part of the Dev Direct, that these are games that are coming out this year. So we're also getting to play Indy this year. We know it's coming out in the fall, I think it was, of this year. So, yeah. Jen, I'm going to start with you again this time because you've been catching up on all of the films for the first time for some of them.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on what you saw from Indiana Jones, the great circle?
I just want to pause for a moment and say, if you go back to that part where he's buried in the sand and he
Yeah.
clenches his fist, you can see all the details in his fingerprints. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I've never seen that level of detail in any game. To have fingerprints look that good.
Well, it's even more than
In a
that,
game.
actually. If you have a look at the character that's in front of him, the evil guy, he's got
he's
the sweat
dripping
dropping down
sweat.
his face, but also when his lips are moving, also saliva. But when his lips are opening and closing, you've got
I
saliva.
didn't notice that.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
I've got it paused on the character now, so when I play it now, you'll see what I mean. When he's talking, there's little bits of spittle that's stuck to his lips when he's opening and closing his lips.
I didn't see that at all.
And it's just insane the level of detail that they've got in there.
It's crazy. What's funny is some people are saying this game don't look good.
It looks insane, and the likeness that they've got,
crazy.
the likeness that they've got for Indiana Jones, the Harrison Ford Indiana Jones is insane. That is, as soon as I seen it, I was like, yes, they've got the likeness. But also, shout out to Troy Baker, who does an uncanny impression. An uncanny impression.
I noticed that myself, how close it is. I mean, you can tell that it's not perfect, but it's as close as he could get to that, and it's pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
There's some inflections in his tone where you can tell that it isn't Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
but still, Troy Baker's doing a bloody great job here. It's insane.
And
He must have watched those movies over and over again while doing this
Yeah.
to learn how to sort of be like Indiana Jones, to talk through that tone and make the right pauses that Harrison Ford makes, and just that charisma that he gives off. It's crazy, man. I didn't even know that it was Troy Baker until a full day later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. You've got to shout him out because it's understandable as to why he's being used so much within the video game community for voice acting. It's understand why he's the most sought after voice actor in video gaming. He's on everything and in everything.
Look at his the accents he does for Joel.
Yeah.
In The Last of Us, bloody brilliant. You wouldn't even know that was Troy Baker if you didn't know that was the actor in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just visually, it looks phenomenal. It looks, but you would expect no less. This is my thing. I would expect no less from Machine Games using id Tech for the game to look that good, because id Tech is just one of the industry's best engines, bar none. And it is the first game on id Tech 8 as well. It's the first game on the new engine, so it was great to see that in action.
This game's set between the first and second movie, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, like I say, the level of detail they've got on Indy. I'm just gonna go back there to when he's buried in the sand. And just look at the level of detail on him and the way that they've actually kind of detailed Indy as well. The villain looks, like I say, the villain looks really great. But that just is Indiana Jones to the point where they've got the right scar on his chain, they've got the stubble down, the hairstyle. Like, it's so well done. So well done. Like you say, the detail in the hands and the clothing and the leather work and stuff. It is really, really good looking game. Really good looking. Like little smirk he gives off. Fantastic.
I just can't believe I waited this long to see the original movies. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I
only
know.
one I'd seen, I think it came out in like 2008 or something, was Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I don't remember the full title of that. Some of the titles are a mouthful, to be honest. But yeah, I watched Ark of the Covenant, The Lost Ark. I mean,
Yeah.
the day after this was announced, I was like, yeah, I need to watch the original movies because this looks phenomenal. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Hell of a fun movie. But I prefer the second one out of the original three. The second one was my favorite. Like Short Round is a hilarious little character.
Yeah.
I loved that movie, man. It was so good. But yeah, I can't believe I'd never watched them until recently.
No.
The only one
Fantastic.
I'd seen was the one with Shia LaBeouf in it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of what put me off of watching the older ones. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because the
Yeah.
older ones are so much better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, fantastic feel good films, easy watches. You can just have a laugh with them. You have fun.
It's just that bloody charisma that Harrison Ford's got, man. Like, it just puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, yeah. And this guy, I recognize his face straight away. I still don't know the actor's
Tony
name.
Todd. Tony Todd.
Tony Todd.
The voice of Venom
Yeah,
in Spider-Man
that's the
2.
one. Yeah.
Brilliant actor.
Um.
Candyman.
Yes, that's what
Also
that's what I
one
was
of the
going to say.
main characters
Candyman mainly.
in...
Yeah.
He's also one of the main characters in the Night of the Living Dead remake.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films of all time, that.
And to get him in as a villain in this game, awesome. So a nice addition there alongside the Harrison Ford likeness as well, to really give it a little bit more of a what the word, a bit more realism to the characters, as it were. If it wasn't looking like Harrison Ford, it would have kind of detracted away from the game. If some of the villains didn't look like some of these big actors, I think that would have detracted away from it as well. But it's great to see that they have got the
They've
likeness.
really nailed down the likenesses for those characters. Like the guy he's talking to in the school there.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like the guy from the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And then the environments. They've mentioned they've mentioned 4 areas, but they've said you go to more. But the areas they've done there, the environments are drastically different every time. You've got the desert in Egypt, you've got the cities in like Paris or whatever it is, or Germany, and then you've got like the mountainscapes and the Alps and jungles, and so there's a vast array of different places to explore, things to do. It just looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
That bit in the trailer when the music's playing and then he punches those Nazis and it's in sync with the music.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. And I wanted them to do bombastic chase scenes because indie always have ridiculous chase scenes, or they're like trying to take on a guy that's in like a bomber that's like driving on a runway and like he's the gunner and things like that, and he's a giant mechanic and like everything's blowing up all around him whilst he's having this fist fight with a giant mechanic, or there's always something ridiculous happening. So it's great to see that they've got the humor down, they've got the silly action sequences down that are just over the top. It's overall fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Pat, what do you make of indie?
finally we see something. That's the first thing that I thought.
Yeah.
Is when they announced the developers direct and we saw that like silhouette of Indiana Jones. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. After 3 years, well, they showed that small snippet
Yeah.
of it, and finally after 3 years, we saw what like I've been waiting for, because I talked about it in a few of the podcasts. When are they going to show something? And finally, the day was there,
Yeah.
and I'm thrilled, man, to play it. I'm
Yeah.
thrilled to play it, man. I've seen all the films, but it's been a while actually for the first 3-4 films.
Yeah.
Recently, I saw the last one that they made,
Yeah.
and amazing movie. Um, yeah, and just finally seeing like there's a game. Um, yeah, I cannot wait to play it, man. It's I loved like the adventure stuff. I love the puzzles, um, and the fact that it is in like first person makes it more interesting. Of course, like the first thing that I thought is like, would it be like third person? Would be nice, but then again, like a lot of people said, and I think also you guys talked about it last time, is if it's like third person, it will be like a knockoff of Tomb Raider or Uncharted,
Yeah.
and this makes it like, like a whole different kind of vibe,
Yeah.
playing an adventure game. So
I
yeah,
know
it's
there was a big hoo-ha on the first and third
yeah.
person thing. And personally I would have preferred it to be third person, because of course we want to see indie. However, and this is where I always put the whoever on for me, um, is the way that they've implemented being able to see indie. So in the action sequences and the puzzle solving, it does make it easier to be in first person when you're doing the shooting or the grappling or the puzzle solving and things like that, because you can see the puzzles properly when you're like looking at them, as opposed to like looking behind the character and trying to figure out what the puzzle is behind the character.
Yeah.
Um, so that makes sense. The shooting and the fighting makes sense being first person, because it is a little bit more seamless, especially for someone who isn't technically like all guns blazing. He's got a whip and he's got a pistol and he uses these fists and that's it. Like you're not like going over the top with all the different amounts of weapons and things he uses, and the whip's a big thing in this game as well. So that's good to see. But then the fact that they say, right, but for the important parts where you're like climbing things or you're grappling from one area to another and you're doing these big action sequences, that's third person. So you get to see Indy do all these big action sequences. So you don't miss
Yeah.
out on seeing Indy doing this stuff. Like the only time that you miss out on being third person essentially is the gunfighting / combat and the puzzle solving, and the rest of it is third person. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good compromise. It's a good
It's a
middle
good mesh of
ground to
both.
do a bit of both.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree on that. I agree on that for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
I think it would have
So yeah,
been.
it's
I think it would have been a bit different if the entire thing was third person, and you don't like they've put all this effort into like Indy's likeness and things, and you never see him. Like it would have been a different
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, but seeing his likeness, being able to kind of see him grappling from one area to another and get involved in his action sequences and stuff like that, and then having the first person for the combat and the important moments, I can deal with that. I'm absolutely fine with that, 100%.
See,
Yeah.
I get why a lot of people wanted this to be third person and expected it to be third person, but you got to take a long look at Machine Games.
Yeah,
They are masters of first person shooters.
yeah,
That's all they've done. That's all they will likely ever do.
yeah,
They're obviously doing some risks here by giving third person elements to this game. But all the important moments are going to be in first person: the combat, the puzzles, the things you're interacting with.
yeah,
And that's where Machine Games excel. So I don't understand why people really expected this to be a full third person perspective game
yeah.
when we know their pedigree
Their
is
strength and
first person.
pedigrees on first, yeah,
No,
100%.
no.
Um,
And the fact that it comes out this year is
yes,
it's
I
just,
think they wanted it
like,
out last year, right?
yeah,
Because the movie was coming out. The movie was coming out last year.
Yeah.
but obviously COVID delayed some things. So it's
Yeah, I think the bonus for them, I suppose, on that front as well. Before we move on to the next one, bonus for them was that the movie, at least the Dial of Destiny, is the penultimate ending to the franchise. It is the end. It goes out in a great way. I'm not going to spoil it for Jen, but it does it in a great way for the character. The story's great. It's good.
Is it-
Go on.
I'd imagine it'd be the end of the franchise in movie form.
Yes. Yeah.
So the games can
Oh yeah,
be the
because
little grey
this one
area
slots in between
everything.
two things, so it can add. They're adding stories between sections, and you know, even if you watch the films, like the first film, for instance, the very beginning of the film, you see him on an adventure, then he comes back before he starts the actual film adventure. So like you see him like, oh yeah, and like he's talking, and he's like, oh look, this is what I found, but I didn't get this because the guy stole it and such, and then he's like, and then they come after him and like, right, okay, we need you to find the Ark of the Covenant, and it's like, right, okay, there we go, and then that's what the story is, the Ark of the Covenant, but they don't actually go into full depth of what that was, his adventure was there, and what he was trying to get of the first one. So Machine Games theoretically could make this one the Great Circle, and then in between the next film another one, and then in between the next one another one, then they could do a prequel that's before all of them started, and so yeah, they could have essentially maybe it's a trilogy of games in the indie thing that is in between games, in between films. But yeah, Great Circle, I mean, Great Circle, I'm glad it's slotting in between them. I'm glad it slots lore wise into the actual film lineup. So it's like, right, between these two adventures that you've seen on screen, this is what he was getting up to. I like that concept. I like that it fits within it. But it also means that it wasn't ultimately essential to try and get this out when the movie was, because the movie's the end of the timeline. Like the end.
I mean, it would have helped a bit in a way, because like people that had just seen it would have been like, oh, there's a game out now as well.
Yeah.
I need to play that immediately.
Yeah, I think the problem, I think it kind of worked in their favor, I think, for Machine Games, because ultimately people, I enjoyed it, Pat enjoyed it, but critics didn't like it. Critics didn't like the end one. They thought the ending wasn't great, and they thought the story was blah. And I was like, no, why have people forgot how to have fun in films?
I think that's what a lot of critics don't seem to understand, is the film isn't made for them.
Yeah,
It's made for
it's meant to be
fans.
fun. It's meant to be fun, and a lot of them just forget that these indie films were never to be taken seriously. They were meant to be a fun adventure with
Good
Indy
popcorn
and his
flicks.
sidekicks.
That's what they were supposed to be.
Yeah,
Good family popcorn flicks that you can
a
enjoy
fun
with
treasure
everyone.
flick. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So absolutely over the moon it comes out this year. The only title here that I expected didn't have an official release date and kind of had a window because they'll be refining things and fixing things up. But that is to release in fall of this year, and of course straight into Gamepass day one. But I will be getting for Indiana Jones, because much like Jen, much like Pat, I'm a big indie fan. I've watched them all since day dot. I absolutely love them. I'll probably be getting whatever collector's version to bring out for this game, because I love
They should
indie.
do a collection,
You
a
have
collector's
to.
edition that comes with the hat and the whip and the jacket. That'd be awesome.
Oh god, that'll be expensive. A leather hat, a leather whip, a leather jacket, and a game. That's
Hopefully, it's not
£700.
like the Fallout jacket that they released that was like an IKEA bag.
I can foresee them. I can foresee them releasing
A statue.
yeah, like the whatever Great Circle thing is that you're trying to get, or whatever the thing is that's in the middle of this Great Circle. I can see them doing the statue as a collector's edition, but ultimately I'll just want the steelbook. And whatever comes with that. If they do include a mini whip and a hat, hallelujah, I'll take that as well.
Did you see towards the end of this footage, as the bloke was closing it out, Todd Howard popped up and grabbed the idol?
Yeah.
Stole it. Yeah, yeah. But no, I'll be getting this, much like and again, a lot of people didn't, but I own Starfield. I own Halo Infinite. These are the certain games where you'll just buy them regardless. I always do the same with Forza Horizon. I always buy the full game. There's certain games where I will just buy it. Indie will be one of them because I love the Indie franchise. I've like watched them since I was a little kid.
I just still can't believe I waited this long.
Yeah. Welcome to the Indie franchise. But yeah, phenomenal. And can't wait to play it later this year. Next up was Avowed. Now, this one got a little bit of a flack when it first got announced because it didn't look as good as people thought it would. And people were like, "Oh, it's vastly different to what they had originally shown off in the teaser trailer." But the teaser trailer wasn't gameplay; it was just an idea as to this: we're doing a fantasy RPG.
That wasn't in-engine footage.
Yeah.
That was just that was the CGI thing.
Yeah.
None of that was gameplay or anything.
Yeah.
It was concept.
But I trust Obsidian. They're wizards and they're craftsmen and always have been. And they do really great games. Love the Outer Worlds. It was a nice bite-sized version of their idea of a Fallout or something like that. I can't wait for Outer Worlds 2, but I'm loving and I cannot wait to see their idea of a Skyrim, their version of an Elder Scrolls in a more bite-sized version. Not this big 150-hour epic, but more a 30-40-hour game with your side quests and things like that. We understand the actual campaign, the actual story is going to be about 20-25 hours. Add some side quests on there, it's going to be like 40 hours or so. And I can't wait to dive into Obsidian's Elder Scrolls game before we get another Elder Scrolls in like 10 years' time. Like, having played Skyrim even very recently, it's made me look forward to playing this game even more. And then the way that they've showed off combat, where you can just seamlessly change between weapon styles. You can be a double wizard with 2 wands and just Avada Kedavra 2 people at the same time. Like Harry Potter on steroids. The different kind of enemies they've got in there, the way like you can do spells with this, or you can do a spell with a pistol, or spell with a shield, or spell with a sword, or whatever you want to do and however you want to interact with it. It looks like it's going to be good fun. And I'm looking forward to learning more about the world as I play it. There's obviously a lot that we still don't know with regards to character progression, how you improve the character, and what armor sets and things you can get. And, but again, it's another first-person RPG. But it looks far better than it did the first time we saw it. Far better. Graphically, they've definitely polished it to no end. It looks beautiful in many circumstances. There's a lot of different variances on the biomes. There are some gritty biomes. There's some unbelievably colourful ones. But the level of detail, the monsters, the combat, and everything like that is super interesting. And I'm looking forward to playing that. It's another one that's releasing later on this year, around the same period of indie. Woo!
Yeah.
So
it's a big year for Xbox.
yeah.
Stalker 2.
Stalker 2 as well, same time, yeah.
That's September, right?
September 12th.
September 12th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, September 12th. And then you've got this and indie all fitting into that latter part of the year. That's an insane end of the year for Xbox.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, it looks phenomenal. And like I say, some of the areas are like hyper detailed. There's so much going on. It's very vibrant. It's very colourful. It's an interesting place to explore. And I was more impressed on this one, and I can't wait to dive into it. I'm in the mood for another Skyrim-esque game now. Having played Starfield and then going back to Skyrim, I'm like, no, Skyrim's definitely more my kind of Bethesda RPG than Starfield is.
I thought exactly the same thing because I also started playing Skyrim again recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just so much better than Starfield.
Yeah, it's not like it's just the world and the exploration and the mystery around what you're doing and where you're going and things like that is just far more like captivating.
I think it comes down to the scale of Starfield and Skyrim is more of like a smaller, intimate experience
Yeah.
with the player, as Starfield is more like this massive, grand,
But I
open
also think
worlds,
what
not world.
lends to providing a better atmosphere in Skyrim, as much as the soundtrack was good in Starfield, the soundtrack was infinitely better in Skyrim. Skyrim's soundtrack, when you're just walking around the world and that beautiful soundtrack behind you when you're just exploring, just adds to the wonder and the kind of excitement around it. And you've seen Jordan playing it recently, and he's addicted to
Yeah.
Skyrim now. He's
Yeah.
now
I've been
fully
telling him
addicted.
to play that for
Oh, it's-
ages. I told him to play that before Starfield came out, and he didn't. I'm glad
Yeah.
he's playing it now, though.
Yeah, and he's loving it.
He's highly addicted to it now.
Yeah. So, yeah, Pat,
yeah.
these usually aren't your kind of games, but what do you make of Avowed?
Well, actually, I was pretty surprised on what I saw. You know,
Yeah.
like, I, to be honest, I didn't like really pay attention when I saw the first trailer and that kind of stuff because I
Yeah.
thought, you know, that kind of game again. But to be fair, I was pretty surprised during the developers direct, and I said to myself, I really need to jump into a game like this.
Yeah.
You know, with and I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna do it. I just wanna see. I wanna experience these type of games. You know, it's not that I don't play RPGs, but
Yeah.
it's like the whole like environment and the genre it is. But
Yeah.
it's really cool to see the all the kind of things that you can do. Like you said, Harry Potter on steroids too.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy, and I think the battle in this game is also pretty fun. So, yeah, I'll like I said, I'm surprised. I'm gonna play this when it comes.
Have
Yeah.
you played Skyrim?
No comment.
Play Skyrim. Play Skyrim.
No, I haven't never played Skyrim.
Oh,
Play it
God.
and stream it. People love watching people play Skyrim for the first time.
Skyrim's
Yeah?
yeah. It's
People absolutely love watching first timers play Skyrim because like they like to live through the new player.
yeah. They're like,
experiencing it
I
for the
love
first
this
time.
part.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just love watching like new people play Skyrim. It's nice to see them learn the game and experience like everything that I've experienced. And as much as you might experience things differently than I did initially,
Uh-huh.
and that's a cool thing to see as well. Like how different your experience in the beginning might be from how mine was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. I think to be fair, I think you'd enjoy Skyrim as well. To be fair, especially when you get the dragon powers and you can start shouting people off cliffs.
Thanks for a dollar.
Bye. Just launch them off things with your powers. But yeah, and obviously you can ride dragons. Who doesn't want to do that? So
Interesting.
yeah. So no, the game's massive, but it's very interesting to explore, and it still holds up to this day. Like it is really interesting. Like really interesting. Like I started playing it again the other week, and I must have played like 5-6 hours straight, and I was like, I need to stop now. I can see it's getting back into it again. Uh-oh.
I love it.
It gives a reason though, because I found out that I didn't have like the achievements didn't carry over onto the Xbox Series version of it. So I was like, I can unlock everything again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait to play Avowed. But I think you'll enjoy. I think you'd enjoy both Skyrim and Avowed, Pat. To be honest, because they're very like the exploration part, and you like exploring places and finding
Yeah.
things, and especially the weapon upgrades and upgrading your weapons and getting powerful stuff and being able to know all the different monsters and things you can beat up. Yeah, it's just really good game. It's a really good game.
If and when you do play it,
Yeah.
immediately run up to a giant. You'll have a great time. not gonna say anything else.
If you like
That's it.
going into space, then you will love it.
Oh wait, I heard something about that. I I think I know what you guys
Oh, it's
It's
hilarious.
coincidentally how your
planning me to
character
do.
gets into Starfield.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah.
Starfield begins. Yeah. Starfield. No,
Okay,
yeah, it is
okay.
fantastic. Definitely recommend attempting it anyway. If you get into it and you end up being a Jordan and you're like, I am addicted to this game now, you're welcome.
It's a lot of fun, and like the Game Pass version has all the content as well. So
Yeah,
like the Dawn Guard DLC, which is one of my favorites with like vampires and all that.
yeah,
Oh, vampires as well.
yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
There's
They've got.
werewolves in the game too, and yes, you can be a werewolf.
You can be a werewolf, you can be a vampire, or you can choose not to be a werewolf or a vampire. It's up to you what you want to do. It's one of those games.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And you will just come around random settlements that have been massacred by either werewolves or vampires.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Jen, what about you? What do you think of Avowed?
I can't wait for it. I like how vibrant this world is in comparison to like a Skyrim, which is quite dark and greyish. This is more like vibrant, and there's all these different like coloured flowers and all that in the area. Like, the scenery looks amazing. Uh, it's weird that you can dual wield wands, but I kind of like it. It looks funny. I might try that out when the game eventually comes out. But I did notice a few people looked, but then there was, I think, new footage that dropped. Was it yesterday or something? Or I don't know if it was leaked, but there was like new footage that made the gameplay look way better, and it made me think, why didn't they just show this in the actual preview?
Okay. I missed
Um,
that.
but I'm really into those types of games. Like Skyrim, played that on many different platforms. Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Steam, and again on most recent consoles. Again, when they released the, I think it was 10th anniversary edition. But yeah, I'm super excited for this game, man. Like, I love those RPGs where you can do wacky stuff to the characters and build wacky builds for characters. It's my kind of game. I get lost in those games.
Yeah.
Hours slip by, and then I'm up at 4 in the morning, like I was with Palworld the other night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I look at the clock, and I'm like, shit, I should have been in bed hours ago.
Hours and hours ago, yeah. Yeah, it's been me all week. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. I need to be up at 6. What am I doing? But I'll just finish this. I'll just finish this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not though. You can't, because you're like, yeah, I just need to finish this building over here, and then something else distracts you, and then like 2 hours go by again, and you're like, shit, I just need to finish this, and then I will go to bed. And then you don't go to bed. You still spend like 15 minutes doing shit before you actually get off the game.
Yeah.
That's me with Palworld. That's me with Skyrim. That's me with all those like RPG type of games. Like
Yeah.
I just crave the like either the building aspects of like what you do in Palworld, and you can do that in Skyrim as well. You can actually build your own like house in Skyrim with the DLC that's part of that.
Yeah.
I love all that shit, man, and my life slips by me because of
Like
it.
for like Skyrim and things like that, it's for me it's the okay, so just what's over here? And then you go to that area and ooh, what's this over here? This looks interesting. I'll
Yep.
go over here. And then you find
I'm in a
yourself
main
in like a
mission.
random cave and this like oh what's there over here? And then before you know it, you're like fucking hours away from your main place that you were meant to be going to, and you're like, oh
On my way to a main mission, I'm like a magpie that sees something shiny in the distance. I must look at it
yeah,
every time,
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like, oh, there's a place over there. I can go to it. There's a place over there. I can go to it.
yeah, yeah,
And then like 3 hours later, I actually get to the main mission I was supposed to get to.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm also super intrigued by it. I can't wait to dive into it as my stopgap before whatever they bring out next in Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to be a nice refresher of it, but yeah, I'm going to be playing well through Skyrim, then my new playthrough up until the release of Avowed, and then going to jump on that and and play that all the way through. And I cannot wait. I cannot
If
wait.
it wasn't for Palworld, I'd probably still be on Skyrim
Yeah,
because of like I was getting back into that addicted Skyrim
same.
mode.
Same. Oh dear me. But yeah. Additionally to that, and of course that one releases in fall as well, as we've mentioned. Aside from that, a game that's intrigued me that I've never played, a series that I keep getting told is great, amazing. Visions of Mana is also coming to Xbox, and they had the Square Enix team that are behind Visions of Mana coming to the console for the first time. So the Mana series has never been on Xbox, so they're bringing it to the Xbox for the first time for this new release, and I am going to pick it up. It looks interesting, it looks intriguing. It's a hack and slash game. It's not a turn-based RPG. So it's a little bit more akin to what we would enjoy, as opposed to a lot of people don't like those turn-based RPG things. So be intriguing. Very colourful. Very colourful. Not too dissimilar in its art style to Palworld, to be fair. Obviously a little bit more refined because it's a big studio at Square. So it's definitely more refined. But looks great. Very interesting. It's a big deal for them to get Square Enix and Visions of Mana on the Dev Direct to show off that game in the first place. So another great addition to the console coming later this year. But overall, chaps, that pretty much wraps up the show. So, gents, it's been a blast. It's been nice just talking about games and the excitement of games again, and not having
been good to be
drama
back here on
behind us that we
podcast
have
as
to
well.
cover. But yeah, it's been a blast. Into everybody in chat as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And let's get our outros going. First and foremost, Pachu! Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Well, first of all, I want to say, Jen, welcome back, man. I missed you.
I've missed
but
being here. I've been
for you.
so
It was
busy
all
with things, though.
for you. It was all for a good cause. You were working on your book. I wish you a lot of luck towards like what's coming,
Thank
of
you.
course. And yeah, keep up the amazing work, man.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to get stuck in writing more and eventually, hopefully by the end of this year, get the book out.
Woo!
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. But yeah, you guys can find me, of course, on Twitter, or X by now, and of course on Twitch. I'll be streaming some Palworld,
Skyrim?
probably. Skyrim. I'm gonna stream Skyrim, first time ever.
Yes.
And today I also got my first Stream Deck. I got the Stream Deck Mini.
Yes.
So I'm gonna work on that the next couple of days as well. Gotta put some settings into it and that kind of stuff. And then the only thing left is a capture card, and we're good to go for the streams again. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it, and we might do a jump over to YouTube instead of Twitch. So yeah, but yeah, keep your eyes open on it.
Nice. Awesome
So,
stuff.
yeah.
Awesome stuff. And of course, the General C, been awesome to have you back, brother. It's again.
Yeah, it's been great to be back. Should hopefully be back more frequently. I won't guarantee every week, but
Yeah.
I'll try.
Yeah, no, that's all good. That is all good.
Yeah.
It's been, like I say, it's been a blast having you back. So thank you, and of course, let people know what you're working on and where they can find you.
Just nowadays, it's just my book. When I'm not playing games and doing life stuff, it's just my book. I don't stream anymore. I might come back to it, but right now my primary focus is getting that book done.
And for those who aren't aware in
we'll
chat,
see.
what kind of book are you creating?
It's sci-fi, but it's also mythology, and at the heart of it, it's a mental health story. I can't really say too much without giving things away. There's going to be some wacky characters in it. There's going to be some unique characters in it. There's going to be some cool characters in it. If you're a fan of like Vikings and Norse mythology, that's one of my heaviest inspirations, as well as James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, I've got some inspirations there, but I'm obviously doing my own thing with all that.
Nice.
Nice.
I can't wait to share
Nice,
more,
nice.
but I can't do that right now because I don't want to give too many of the plot details away.
That's all good. That's all good. It's awesome to hear. And again, as echo what Pat said, good luck for the remainder of this
Thank you very
year
much.
and getting to that final point where you're happy with it and happy to talk more about it and show it off.
Yeah,
and release
I mean,
it.
I've been way more productive with writing because just a little bit before Christmas, a few days before, I got a laptop, and that's helped with not being stuck in one room, because being stuck in one room can be a bit of a pain in the ass. And
Yeah.
that sometimes doesn't help when you want to write, because you just can't think straight, and sometimes you just need to get out of that room you're stuck in.
Yeah.
And it helps having the laptop, because I can get out of this office space here and go in my bedroom or sit in the living room or pretty much anywhere around the house and write, and it helps to be able to leave the room and not be stuck in one box.
Yeah.
That's what's helped me get to 21,000 words and counting. I'm trying to work on it daily, but obviously life stuff gets in the way of things as well. So yeah, I'm
Awesome.
just going to keep chipping away at writing. I'm just about to start writing chapter 4 of the book.
Nice. Do you know how many chapters you're
Good luck, man.
aiming for, or
Roughly aiming for around about 17 to 20. Sort of like that first Harry Potter length book. Don't want to go too big with it.
Yeah.
But that's my sort of goal, but who knows? It might be bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Well, best of luck, brother. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
But yes, other than that, everybody in chat, thank you very much for joining us once more. Hope you have an awesome evening. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back again tomorrow on the World of Gaming with Boxenberger. Boxy is going to be hit and miss over the next few weeks because of work commitments. He's got something he's working on that would be a career step that he needs to work on behind the scenes, that he needs to put a load of work into. So some weeks he'll make it, some weeks he won't. On some weeks, if we're live, we might just be a Thursday show with Boxy to make sure we can kind of both do it at the same time. But of course, we will do a show every week regardless, whether it's Wednesday or a Thursday, so don't worry about that. But yes, other than that, I know my streams have been a bit hit-y-missy recently, but yeah, if I'm in one of those moods where I just want to relax, I will just relax. I'm not putting pressure on me sticking to a schedule at the moment, so if I just want to just wind down and play, or if I want to wind down and just watch a film, or if I'm just too tired, then I won't stream. If I'm in the mood and I just want to just stream whatever I'm playing, then I'll just stream whatever I'm playing. So,
I fully understand that. That's the point I got to, because I was juggling too much.
Yeah.
I was trying to write my book. I was trying to stream. I was trying to do multiple podcasts, and I had to step back from everything. My own streaming, the podcasts, and I had to figure things out. And now I'm just mainly doing my book.
Yeah.
And from time to time now, I'll be back on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, good, man. Oh, good.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So everybody have an awesome evening. Enjoy your games. Enjoy Palworld, because I know all of us will probably be jumping on that as the moment this finishes.
No.
Liar.
Most likely.
Liar. I was on
I
last
should be
night.
right.
You jumped on at midnight and you were like, are you still on? Palworld.
I should be writing, but we know that Palworld has got me at the moment. I can write till 4 a.m, or either way.
But everybody have an awesome evening, and we shall see you all again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys later.